Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. I should have said the great state of Rhode Island. It's been so kind to us so far as we are live in Providence for the NCAA Tournament. And it's a little bit impromptu of a live stream. We was trying to do it a few hours prior, but here we are, guys. We're here, and we're happy to be here. We are. It's just been a day. It's been a day, to say the least.
It has been a day, and I'm sure we're going to get into the details here, but I just got to let everybody know right away that tomorrow morning you're going to listen to a Pot at the Palace episode that was recorded before all of the events that we were getting ready to talk about took place. You might be confused. Just know that my vibes were very, very high when I did record said podcast. So.
Yeah, our vibes are going to get better though, because we've weathered the storm now, right?
Ain't nothing going to bring me down.
Nothing's going to bring us down. I feel like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and so we just haven't eaten yet is really the issue. I think that's kind of what's lingering over us here. But no, we made it here. We're going to survive, and the week is young. The week is very young, and so
we don't go chasing waterfalls.
No.
But no, so we're locked in. I mean, the vibes are up from here.
Yeah, it was great to be able to do a show and live stream with us, together in person again. And we just had to have a few changes of venue. And for those of you who may not know, basically we had an Airbnb that we had booked, and we were really excited about it. When we get there, and it's freezing cold, and we're like, oh, well, maybe they just didn't turn the heater on. Well, no, they sent us a message literally as we were flying into Providence that said, hey, by the way, the furnace blew, and they're out. So you're not going to have any hot water. Any heat, and sorry. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So what can we do here? And they're really helpful in saying, well, we'll give you $250 off of the Airbnb if you guys want to stay there tonight and stay throughout the remainder of this of the time, in case ends up being a lot of money that comes in, and we get some people out here to do the heat and all that. We take that risk. I'm like, no, I don't really know if we like that. We went a lot of back and forth all around. Point is, we booked this Airbnb at the last minute. It's a nice little spot. And here we are. We're going to be continuing to do our stuff either from here at our Airbnb, but also at Snookers. We're going to do Inside Arkansas Live Thursday and Friday there. Still going to have Pot at the Palace. Still going to have Bombastic. Still going to do all of our content. Just, it's been a day, but it's still going to happen. It's still going to be going through it.
Yeah, still a good day, man. First of all, the luggage arrived. We had no luggage snafus whatsoever. The plane ride was bumpy, to say the least.
Dude, I almost forgot about that already.
Well, see, that's the silver lining in all this, because for a while there, I think that might have had you shook. It had me shook for a second, and I'm used to turbulence. It doesn't bother me that much, but when we're mid-flight and the captain is addressing everybody on the plane and his voice is getting shaky as we're hitting bumps, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, especially when the flight that we took from XNA to Atlanta, the pilot was like 16 years old. It was the youngest.
No, he was young.
Literally the youngest pilot. And he was a ginger. And does he have a soul? I don't know. But what I will say is he was very young. But no, it's all good. And I got to admit, this second place that we wound up at, I know it's a roundabout way and some more money or whatever to get here, but this is a pretty sick spot. Like I'm feeling it, and I like the vibe in Providence. I didn't like the situation that we're in. I feel like we've erased the bad juju now. I'm good.
I definitely think and that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. I didn't articulate it very well. I feel like we've weathered the storm and we're good now. Like we did end up at a better Airbnb. Our Uber driver said it was in a better neighborhood. The thing about Providence, everything's old here, which you kind of expect. But the neighborhood we were in earlier had all these like different colored houses and stuff. Really like cool. It had you said a funky vibe to it.
A little funky,
it had a little bit of a funky vibe. But I gotta say, all of our complaining goes out the window, because we had two of our most loyal allies pitched in to help us out. We want to start with Michelle Wilkerson. Says, for the new Airbnb fund, Uber fund, drink fund, really whatever you need most after today fund, that $20 would have not quite covered the Airbnb difference, right?
But it would probably not have fully covered it.
Well, Quinn made sure we got it covered, though, because he pops in.
Hold on.
I love
nope. That one. Quinn, you're the man, dude. You didn't have to do that.
Should not have done that, buddy. But goodness gracious, do we appreciate you, man?
Yeah.
Well, he did it as we were like sitting here complaining, doing this woe is me. They made us go to a different Airbnb, and then he's getting and I see it pop up as we're doing the sob story, and so I'm like, it was frustrating, but again, we made it. We're back now. I mean, we're already restored.
I thought about Quinn as we were in our Uber from one Airbnb to the next with just a very thick Northeastern accented man who had just the biggest Miami the U bling chain hanging off of his mirror there.
Had a diamond in his ear as well.
Yeah, and I thought about Quinn because I thought about that time that Miami took down that really good Auburn team in the NCAA tournament. And I was like, man, that never should have happened. I've never asked Quinn about that game. Now I'm not going to because, he's a good man. I don't want to pour any salt in the wound,
That's crazy that you kind of did
already.
I had to tell the story to explain why I'm not going to do it.
So. I got to be honest. Quinn, I'm going to be honest with you. Curtis is not a big Auburn guy right now. He's wavering. He's wavering big time. And even after that massive super chat, I can tell he doesn't have faith in the Tigers this weekend, but I want the records to show that I do. Okay. I have Auburn in the national title game of my bracket.
Wow.
Spoilers for the Inside Arkansas Tournament Challenge. Don't ask me whether or not they win that title game, but I have them in it.
Yeah. I don't even remember where I picked. Like it's been one of those things where the NCAA tournament field is always just I try to overthink it, but every time I do, I know it's going to go poorly for us or poorly for me at least. And so, yeah, it's supposed to be the best time of the year, and it is because that's I know we keep mentioning it, but yeah, what's happened today is not going to rain on our parade because we're still going to have plenty of things happening. I mean, we got practices tomorrow that we can go and check out.
Yes,
for the Razorbacks as well as Kansas. Get a chance to hear from Cal, get a chance to hear from Bill Self. We'll have plenty of that, and all that content, of course, will be on Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page as well as on our website and everything, InsideArkansas.com. And we'll have the game and hopefully 2 games this week that we can attend and go to for the Razorbacks and taking care of business. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot to get to and a lot to make. So this is just going to be a short stream, folks. Like, it's not going to be a full length one because we got business to take care of. As in, we got to go over to Snookers and check out the lay of the land before we start just doing shows there and whatnot. But we are going to get to just a few quick segments here on the show. And of course, we'll get to your chats. I know we've gotten a few of the super chats, which again, we really appreciate it. It's not necessary. That is not, listen, and I mean this, like for Quinn, I appreciate you. And of course, Michelle too, but I would much rather us not had the day we had than you give us the money. Like, so it's not like, let's get on this stream and let's just start making the violins play so we can really, really extort our listeners to give us money. Like, that is not what we want at all, but we appreciate it. Seriously. Feel bad. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like, now I feel like
very grateful, but it makes me feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. Because even our guy Cade right here says, if we beat Kansas and St. John's, will you go straight from Providence to the next side?
Know, man.
Bro.
Okay. Everything you just said, John, that was very, very nice of you. Very sweet. All that goes out the window if there's a San Fran trip that all of a sudden now needs to be accounted for. Then all of a sudden I will be making a deal with the gods where I'm like, how much super chat money can we get if we just what suffering do I have to endure?
Hey, it could be worse. We could have an office space that we won't pay for, and
come on,
problematic.
Wow, so. Whoa.
But no, here's the deal. To answer your question, though, Cade, more than likely, yes. Like, we will just fly straight from, whether it's flying out of Boston or wherever, we will fly straight to San Francisco because it is pretty much stupid and pointless for us to, if Arkansas made it to the Sweet 16, pricey, to fly back to Fayetteville on Sunday night, late Sunday night, around midnight, only to fly out again in a day or so. So it just, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, though. Like, we got some other things that got to go and materialize before that, but we will figure it out.
I remember this dilemma when Arkansas was in Buffalo and they won, and then they went to San Francisco. And I flew back to my dad's in St. Louis, and I was there for like a day, and I flew out to San Francisco. But I remember Muss having this dilemma where, like the NCAA tournament and the way that they were, because they scheduled the travel for these teams, and you're just kind of at the mercy of whatever they tell you. And sometimes you'll like wake up in the morning. It'll be 10 o'clock in the morning. They say, hey, you guys leave at 4 o'clock today. Like, that's when your flight is. You kind of have always had to be ready for that. And I remember Muss was legitimately thinking about, I'm going to pay out of my own pocket.
Yeah, I remember that.
To charter us to go back home, sleep in our own beds for a night or two, and then get out there instead of what the NCAA is trying to get us to do. They didn't wind up doing that, and then they went and beat Gonzaga, but, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what's crazy is I get that you're a 10 seed this year, so it's a little bit different. But I truly never thought that we would see another scenario like what Arkansas went through that year where they went to Buffalo and then the San Fran if they made it. And it's pretty much the exact same scenario. Same city with San Francisco, but also being up in the Northeast to where like we're doing it and, because it's kind of our job. But I feel bad for Razorback fans that just like want to go to tournament games. It's probably pretty cool for people that live up here in the Northeast or out there in San Francisco and everything. But like, if you're just a fan in Arkansas, I'm like, man, I want to follow them all the way. That's a lot, man. That is a tough thing to pull off.
You know what? We got a lot of people like our some of our buddies who are like making that decision of like, do I hold off and just hope they go to the Sweet 16? Because like, if you're going to go to going on a trip to go watch Arkansas play in San Francisco, that in and of itself is a big deal. It's really hard to pull that off coming off the heels of flying to Providence, which, there's not just a ton of outgoing flights to Providence every day out of XNA. So it's a big deal. I think we were talking about this on the way up here. St. John's is who really got screwed here. We all get screwed, but St. John's could have had the cool thing of having to go to Lexington, where Rick Pitino coached. That would have been a cool story. And they could have been in Newark, New Jersey. That would have been like very ideal. Instead, they have this draw where they're going to Providence and then potentially they're a 2 seed. Like Arkansas, you're a 10 seed. You don't really get to complain. Yep. If I'm St. John's, if I'm Rick Pitino, after I've had this awesome magical season, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I'll be pissed. It's kind of like what Auburn has to go through this year. I mean, they're playing in Lexington, but it's like, oh, we give you Louisville potentially in the second round. They're in Kentucky. And you're Auburn. You're the number 1 overall seed, or I guess the number 1 seed at least. And you kind of get boned in it. I know there's no perfect way of doing it, but there's nothing against the fine city of Providence. But we just need to start having a mandate on if you're going to host the NCAA tournament, you got to have status of the city. Because this draw this year has been boo-boo. This is trash. Of like, not even just the second weekend. San Francisco, Newark. Like, who's just like, man, I can't wait to hang out at Newark.
Barclays, man.
Yeah, like you got Atlanta, which is okay, I guess. It's a hub for a Delta, and then what's the other one?
Indianapolis, right?
Well, Indianapolis, okay. That's fine. That's fine. But like, I don't know. And then it just feel like you got to have some, and I can't get it right all the time, but at least have half of your sites be really cool,
Hot take. San Antonio kind of sucks as a Final Four
location. I agree.
It's been the Final Four location a lot, so maybe it's just kind of that thing. But like, if you're going to go to a kind of mid-tier city for the final, wouldn't you want to go to a bunch of like awesome cities leading up to it? But I don't know.
Yeah,
wasn't the last time all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four was in San Antonio?
I'll take your word for it.
That sounds right. Actually,
I heard somebody say that recently. Or maybe I thought on Twitter.
Like
that doesn't
San
mean it's true.
Antonio is where that Michigan team that was not a 1 seed was in the title game. Maybe. Whereas like them versus Villanova.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right, because I saw the same tweet that maybe you're referring to, Curtis. But yeah, well, that's going to change this year because they're going to have a 10 seed in the Final Four this year in San Antonio. Just telling you. I mean, obviously,
of course,
that's what's going to be happening. But again, we appreciate your chats. We got Fishman Super Chat says, maybe I'm in the minority, but I just feel blessed to be in the dance. Winning a game or two would be the cherry on top. Woo pig fellas, which I fully agree with. Like considering where you were early mid-January and to where you are now, yes. I'm definitely happy that we are here because there was a good stretch. We were like, man, well, we're going to be saving a lot of our time and money here come March. But no, I'm thankful that that they're in the tournament, also that we're here. I know we've complained about how it's been so far. At least I've been bummed, but it's like, we're happy that we're here. We're happy to bring you guys coverage of it all. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited to check out the rest of the city. When I was out roaming about, and I would suggest everyone, if you're a Pot at the Palace listener, watch tomorrow because I'm walking around and just like what Andrew was talking about, it's crazy, man. Like some of the houses out here, as I was walking around, some of them are businesses, and it's like this, this was established. This was built in 1867. It's like that kind of stuff, and they got like everything's multicolored and painted weird. It's just different than what we're used to in Arkansas, and I think it's cool. So I'm excited to explore and everything. As far as the team, I'm at the beginning of the year, I said NCAA tournament, win a game. And I would be happy with that in year one for Cal. And that's before we knew everything else with the injuries and the nonsense and the crappy start and everything. I still feel that exact, like, I'm not going to lie. If they lose to I get it. It's Kansas, it's Bill Self, whatever. If they lose on Thursday, I'm going to be salty about it for at least 1 week.
Oh yeah.
Like it's going to take me at least 1 week to be able to then backtrack and be like, oh, understanding the context and everything, and they were the underdog in the game. It's like, all right, fine, get them next year, Tiger. I'll be pissed about it for a minute. I'm not gonna lie.
Well within your rights to be pissed about it. Let's just be honest. The one thing you really couldn't do, it was not make the tournament. That was like the one thing where like I think it was. I remember it being a buy or sell that we did during football season where we were like, what's more likely, like Razorback baseball to win the title or basketball to miss the whole tournament? And we were like, oh damn, like like basketball missing the tournament, we would have said that would be an abject disaster. They didn't do that. And believe it or not, like the difference between, 5 or 6 spots on the seed line or whatever, not being out and being in as a 10 seed, it's night and day. It really is a very big line in the sand. So they've already kind of achieved what, not achieved, that's not the right word, but they'll be fine. This season is an acceptable season at this point. If you lose, it does leave that sour taste because you're like, damn, you did all this work for nothing. If you win one, you're gravy. Yeah. We'll celebrate you in the streets of Fayetteville. We'll throw a parade for you on Dixon. And if you win 2, then we're just at the point where we're trolling on Twitter every single day. We're like, that's all we do is we just do a victory lap for the season.
You said something yesterday, and ever since you said it, I've kind of adopted your thought process here of kind of feels like Arkansas is either going to go 2-0 or 0-1. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're gonna win both of them, or they're not going to win one at all. And I hate feeling that way. And I didn't even cross my mind until you said it. Now I'm just like, dang.
Nicely done.
If they beat Kansas, if they beat Kansas, I'm going to be all over this with St. John's. So I just buckle up for it. And like I get it, they play defense, but they can't shoot. And look at the teams they beat and they haven't beat. And they don't have the wins that Arkansas has. I'm going to be all over it, man. And I'm going to talk myself into it completely because I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah. Well, I think that in this particular case, I don't want to say spoiled, but it is nice to know that Arkansas, the past 3 times that they've made the NCAA tournament, they have advanced to the second weekend. Like you've gotten used to that. And before that, I guess they played Butler and lost in the first round with Gafford and Barford and all them. And then the year before that, they won a game. The year before that, they won a game. So the point is that Arkansas, at least, they haven't been, for the Pelfrey, Heath years and all that, they haven't been to the tournament as much as I'm sure many people would like. But when they have gone, it hasn't been just like, they've been losing 4 in a row in the first round. More often than not, they at least win a game.
It's been a respectable effort. Like even those Pelfrey teams that would win a game, lose a game, they were an 8 seed. And so it's like, okay, that's kind of like what you're supposed to do. Or even the Portis Qualls team, I think they were a 4 or 5, maybe a 5 seed. So you win your 5-12 game and then you lose that's not a shameful, like they've pretty much done what they've been supposed to do each time. Like they haven't lost a game they weren't supposed to lose, with the exception of that Butler game, which that was a tough one. But like going back to that, like Bucknell, I remember that was the first NCAA tournament game I can remember because I remember asking to check the score in school and they were like, yeah, you can do it, I guess, at the end of the day. And then I saw Arkansas lose to Bucknell 59-55.
Yeah.
Tore me apart. But to your point, John, I'm 27 years old. In my entire lifetime, I remember thinking it was crazy, the concept of going to the Sweet 16. Because, like, literally, Arkansas did not do it until I was, 22, like 23 years old. Like, it was a long time where winning 2 games in the tournament, I felt like that was a hump Arkansas just couldn't get over. Obviously, that everybody in the chat screaming, you don't remember the 90s. I'm like, I just, in my lifetime, I always wanted to go to the Sweet 16. And now, to your point, John, I'm like, just being in the tournament and losing right away, like I'm glad that we're at a point because of our head coach, because of our program, that we would be annoyed. Like you said, we would be kind of pissed off, even if they lose as a 10 seed. You're like, you got to do some damage once you're here.
Well, even take out that element of it too. It's like take matchups and everything, but you're playing Kansas in the first round, and we're over. A few years ago, back, oh my gosh, we got to play Kansas. There's no way we're going to beat them, regardless of what the team was. Like, we can't beat Kansas. But now it's kind of like the same thing. I'm gonna be kind of pissed that they don't beat Kansas and Bill Self. That multinational net championship winning coach. Like there'll be a disappointment to it. And it's kind of, and Andrew, to make a baseball point with it, kind of feels like it's like the Dave Van Horn thing too. I know the past few years haven't been good, but the 2018, 19, 20, those years, it was not, hey, no. This, a lot of teams just want to make the postseason and everything. And Arkansas was like, no, you better at least, at minimum, go to Omaha. And obviously that's a much bigger deal. But basketball's kind of come the same way because you keep doing it, the expectation keeps growing.
Do you feel like if Cal wins this game against Kansas, let's say he wins the game against Kansas and loses St. John's, does he escape some of the allegations then? Because I know this is a much different situation, but that's always like, hey, enjoy your early March exit, enjoy your first round exit. And the thought process behind that all along was like, oh, he's going to kill it there in the regular season. You guys will get punked by some mid-major in the first round of the tournament. So it's different now to where I feel like if he loses, I don't know that you can really add that onto the list, but he hasn't escaped any of the allegations. But if you win this game, I feel like this is almost the perfect draw for him, right? Because you're kind of supposed to, and then it's a deal where he can play the underdog role for the first time in a long, long time. And if you get that one, I just wonder if it'll kind of shut people up a little bit and maybe open their eyes more to the job that he's actually done this season. Because I think in Arkansas turning around and getting to where they have, despite everything that's gone on this year, some people are just unwilling to let it register in their brain because they're like, oh, he's just going to lose the first game in March anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, here's the thing about how humanity works. We're prisoners of whatever moment just happened.
Right.
Like, no matter what, that's how it is. Like, we truly in our hearts feel like every year Arkansas's in the tournament they were going to go to Sweet 16 no matter what. Like, that's just what they do. They go to the Sweet 16 or further because we've never seen anything else happen. So we're just like, that's what happens. Cal, the last impressions he's left have been some early exits. But the idea, it's so weird that we talk about this kind of stuff, but like, there's a lot of people who truly have it in their brain. They're like, yeah, John Calipari, like, can't win games in the tournament. It's like, I've watched him. I've seen him win, dozens of games in the tournament. We've seen him as a lower seed, as an 8 or 9 seed, make the final game. You know what I mean? Like, make a real run as an underdog. We've seen him do all this before, but the thing about this sport and kind of the business we're in is you got to keep proving that you can do that. Or else we get to, do whatever. And I think from a big picture standpoint, yes, it would help him beat some of these allegations. But also, it's kind of like, if you don't get the wins now, you really got to get them next year. It just kind of adds to that pressure. And so right now, to your point, he's going in with a little bit of no pressure. But I don't think it's really no pressure, because if Arkansas doesn't win a game this weekend, then you really are like, people will be clowning big time going into the tournament next year. Whereas right now he's kind of safe from that talk.
Yeah. And then also too, to that point, because I know we'll get to your chats and some other segments here too. But we were talking about Bruce Pearl. I think most people who are crapping on Cal probably think Bruce Pearl's just a superior coach, and he's a great coach. I'm not taking anything away from him, but since he's been at Auburn, there's only been 1 year that he's made it to the second weekend or further, and it was the Final Four year. Mm-hmm. And so my point to that is that sometimes people they're so blind to what they're, they look at a coach or whatever. It's like, no one's saying that about Bruce Pearl. No one's saying Bruce Pearl can't win in the tournament, early exit, all that. But why not? The guy has made 1 second weekend in over 10 years as the head coach of Auburn. Maybe that changes this year. But I just feel like if you ever need an example of the double standard and how people hold standards, I think that's a great one to just say, hey, Cal is that, but Pearl isn't, even though I think the resumes are pretty comparable when it comes to their early round exits.
Again, and like, I hate to do this, but it kind of reminds me of when LeBron was 26 years old and he had never won a championship. And it was a thing, first take, they'd be like, can LeBron win a title? Yeah. And what do you mean, can he? It's like, obviously all these guys can do it. Every coach in this tournament is capable of making a run, if the ingredients add up. We always make it out to this whole thing of, what people can and can't do until we see them do it. I think, it's so weird how this tournament, there's so much stake. I mean, we see coaches get hired because of one win. And so that's kind of what makes it special. And so for Arkansas and Cal, I think what's cool about this is it's year one. We don't really have a precedent to go off of. There's not really any pre-existing conditions that we're worried about. We just kind of get to experience and see what it's like. And if Arkansas wins 2 games this week, we get to do the thing where we're like, Cal is a winner at Arkansas. At Kentucky, he wasn't. He was starting to fail, but now he's a winner. He's regained, when really Arkansas just got a decent draw and won 2 games. You know what I mean?
There are definitely pre-existing conditions, but they're not contagious to us. So hopefully they just left him behind in Kentucky. And the reason I asked the question about winning 1 and then losing is because I wonder, like, could the narrative be, damn, he beat Bill Self. in his first year at Arkansas, like, man, they overcame that. He beat Bill Self in the NCAA tournament. Or will it be, oh, yeah, Cal got there. It was a 10 seed or whatever, and then he lost to Rick Pitino. Because people forget, and I'm glad you said this, B999, that he won a first-round game between St. Peter's and Oakland. Nobody ever talks about it. So many Kentucky
fans. On top
of
the, 16 he had won before, you know what I mean?
It cracks me up because I get that all the time in my mentions. Anytime I say anything about Cal, you know how it is. It's right. the folks in BBN that always have something to say, and that's okay. We've got Arkansas fans who do that too, whatever. But it's always, you guys won an NCAA tournament game in 5 years. They've forgotten. They do not acknowledge that he beat Providence in that game before losing to a really, really good Kansas State team in the second round. And I just hope that if he's able to get this one, which would be very significant given who you're playing and the circumstances, that we could remember it for, wow, that was a heck of an accomplishment, and not just turn around and 2 days later and be like, well, he left his arch nemesis now.
Well, let's just be honest about this, guys. What's going to happen is he's not going to ever get his flowers. He's not going to get his credit. They're not going to say anything. They're just going to go radio silent.
Not from the mouthpieces.
Yeah, they're just going to go silent on it. They're just going to be like, well, yeah. They're not even going to mention Cal. They're going to be Arkansas did this and Nellie Davis did that. Oh, hey, give him Boogie Flam back. But they won't even mention Cal. They won't give him credit because that would mean they'd be wrong. And they cannot allow that to happen. So so even if he does do all these things, it's not going to be where he's getting credit. The people, the mouthpieces you say are going to come out and say like, hey, listen, I was wrong about Cal. He actually did a really good job and he still got it. He can still coach at a high level. It's going to be more about the players, more about the matchup, more about the man. That just shows you Boogie Flan getting him back was the difference. They're not going to give him any credit for it.
For sure. And
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to ask a different question, so please finish.
I was just going to say, the more I think about it, I'm kind of fascinated by this premise of what happens if Arkansas goes 1-1, because I think we all agree, nobody would really be able to do a victory lap. Arkansas fans couldn't go too crazy and be like, see, he won a game, because it's it really, but also nobody could really shame Arkansas. If Arkansas wins one and loses one, that's a completely normal, tournament output. Yeah. So for a guy who is as polarizing as John Calipari, there's a path here to this playing out in the least polarizing way where everyone kind of looks at it and understands the context and respects it. And nobody really is Arkansas fans aren't going to be that thrilled about it.
Right. And I know we got other stuff to get to, but I wanted to ask you guys this real quick.
Yeah.
I saw this from my school, Minjul. We said, need to finish equal or better than Kentucky to keep BBN suppressed. I don't care about BBN, but what I'm asking you guys is, does that factor into your success equation at all?
Of beating BBN?
Like advancing just as far or going farther or having a more successful season than them in the end game. It would be very satisfying, I think, for all of us. But let's say, hell, if Cal got to the Sweet 16, but Mark Pope got those dudes to the title game this year, would we look at Arkansas's season any differently because of the circumstances?
I think a little bit, just because of the circumstances. I still don't think it'd be a fair way of doing it, and that's all people would hear about.
Yes,
but at the end of the day, too, sure, hopefully it's not a title game because that would be obnoxious. But if they made it further, I'm like, okay, well, you are a 3 seed and Arkansas is a 10 seed. It'd be a completely different thing if it was reversed, where Arkansas was a 3 seed and then they lost in the first game, and then they are as a 10 seed went on the road, because then suddenly that really changes everything. But they won't listen to it. They won't care. But Kentucky and the seeding, just reportedly, you get better matchups when you're a higher seed. You get an easier way. I mean, I would look at it that way, but it would definitely hurt and sting a pretty good bit if Arkansas had an early exit and then Kentucky, because that's all we would hear. That's all that we would hear. That's all anyone would hear.
It's not like the standard in which I'm going to judge this season. It's just merely when you have your resume, you've got your net, you've got your whatever, you've got all the quad one, you've got all these metrics. It's just kind of one of those where at the end of the year, if we look up and we say, hey, Arkansas won X amount of games, they went to the Sweet 16 and they beat Kentucky and they finished better than them, that would really be a thing. Whereas if Arkansas, if Kentucky goes, let's say Arkansas loses, goes 1-1 and Kentucky goes to the Sweet 16, I'm not going to feel any differently about the 1-1 and be just because Kentucky kind of did what they were supposed to do and Arkansas did what they were supposed to do. I think the context matters, and so I hate to cop out to your answer, but and also there's also the possibility say Kentucky wins by 1 in the first round, and then the 5 seed, whoever, or
Illinois, I guess.
Yeah, Illinois gets upset, and so you're facing an 11. You're facing Xavier in the second round, and it's okay. Yeah. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: if Arkansas does make it further than Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, I'm probably going to say something about it.
I mean, it's a
I'm probably
bragging
going to spike the ball a little bit.
It means
you know?
way more in that regard than it does in the how do we assess this season.
Oh, dude,
regard.
because if there's a way that like Cal made it to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 and then Kentucky got upset as a 14 seed or something, I mean, I don't think there's enough characters on Twitter that I would have to make sure that everyone knew about that. I mean, it'd just be because it would just be beautiful. But that's the NCAA tournament. You just never know. You never know what's going to be happening. So we'll get to a few of your chats here in a minute, folks. But I do want to give a shout out because we're actually starting this segment here on Inside Arkansas Live, as well as other podcasts like Bombastic and Pod at the Palace. But I wanted to give a shout out to one of our new sponsors here of HD Roofing and Construction. We really appreciate you guys and being a part of it. And I know we got some loyal listeners that work over there, but we're looking forward to having who is the heavy hitter, basically talking about who's the heavy hitter, the big time person, the MVP, if you will, each and every week here on Inside Arkansas. And just remember, folks, that storms can hit unexpectedly, just like a lot of the stuff that we can have happen today unexpectedly. But when all those things do, be sure to contact HD Roofing for your peace of mind with a free inspection, as well as when you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, expert installation for all of your roofing needs. But we really appreciate them making it possible, making it happen for us to be here and to be a part of Inside Arkansas. So shout out to them.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Excited to rep them, and I'm very excited about this heavy hitter segment that we're gonna have coming here because it 'tis the season. You know, like that just plays so well for so many things, whether it's NCAA tournament matchups or portal season coming around. A lot of heavy hitters for that, man. So like I'm looking forward to this. We can get creative. It's going to be a blast.
Yep.
Just to be clear, did you guys come with the heavy hitter today? Because John told it to me earlier, and I thought that was like a homework assignment. I thought I had to come prepared. With
that was
hitter.
Before all things went tits up, and we had to figure out some other way to do it. But yeah, I figured since we got to be in the right mindset to give our heavy hitters, and I didn't know if we were in the right mindset. I know Ellis was. Ellis is always in the right mindset. So, but if you want to go ahead and give a heavy hitter, you're more than welcome to doing it.
Acknowledging that I'm always in the right mindset.
Yes.
My heavy hitter is actually a soft hitter, but he's like a soft hitter that is like by design because he wants to lay out of the limelight a little bit. Boogie Fland. He's my heavy hitter. Or just a guy that I wanted to give some recognition to. For one, for just giving us a piece of like storyline. Anytime you're going into March, you're here to cover the team. It's going to be fun no matter what. But anytime you have these cool little things that we get to keep our eye on, and Curtis will be at practice telling us about how his knee's moving and how his arm and elbow are intertwined and all that.
It, man.
You know what I mean? He's going to be really dialed in about that kind of stuff. It just gives us a fun thing to talk about. And I love that all the quotes we're hearing from Cal and all this about how, Boogie told the team he doesn't want to mess up the flow. He wants to just come in and help. And that's what this is about and all that, which, by the way, is obvious. And we all agree. And like, that's cool. And Cal's probably just a little coach speak there, but like, that's what you want to hear in this situation. And so I appreciate Boogie just doing this. And honestly, we'll see how it plays out. If he stinks in the tournament, maybe I'll change my mind. But I really respect that he worked his way back and very easily. Like we all would not have held it against him at all if he never played for Arkansas again. And so in my book, Boogie Fland, like we're allies for life, and we were always going to be allies for life anyway because he came to Arkansas. But it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, I guess those things being said about him is like, he's just he's going to mail it in, getting ready for the NBA. Didn't have surgery and all that. Imagine being that person and having that conviction. And then being so totally, I don't think you could be more wrong about something than what those people out there that were saying those things.
You guys see Joe Lenardi? He was doing his segment with his picks or whatever, and he was just like, I think Arkansas does not have a good chance to advance because Boogie Fland's coming back in the lineup. That's the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
That's brilliant analysis. Jeez.
That's weird because it's like, I don't think Boogie is going to be a huge determining factor. No. You know what I mean? And like, I think he's just going to
be idiots. Yeah. When they just assume that stuff. I've got heavy hitters real quick.
Yeah.
It's the coaches in this pod here in Providence. And because we think about the 4 teams that are here, and it's crazy. It's like 3 national championship coaches. You got John Calipari, you got Bill Self, you got Rick Pitino. By the way, the most underrated aspect of a potential John Calipari-Rick Pitino matchup is the suit-on-suit game. Who's going to win that one? Rick Pitino might come out in all white. So, Cal would really have to step it up. But that's really not even it because the other teams that are here in Providence, Will Wade.
Yeah.
It's a heavy, he's the American gangster for a reason. Matt Painter at Purdue. It's crazy the amount of star power from the coaching aspect of this pod here in Providence. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to just roaming around that building tomorrow and just seeing those dudes interacting with each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of surreal.
Well, now I feel like I have to have a heavy hitter. I can't
Sorry.
be the one way. I will say real quick to the point, though. If Arkansas beats Kansas in St. John's Kansas, you know how I really hope is at the game? Mike Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope Mike Anderson's at that particular game.
I dropped a Mike Anderson reference. We were watching Coach Carter on the plane, which, by the way, we didn't talk about that. We watched Coach Carter damn near in its entirety. But there was a scene where they come in and show him the progress reports and all the kids are failing, and he like really was bent out of shape about it. And this was like, no cameras or anything. Every coach pretends they care. And I was like, you know what? Mike Anderson. That's how Mike Anderson was. Mike Anderson, the APR for Arkansas basketball, highest it's ever been under Mike Anderson.
That's true.
Well, we didn't work on offense. What did we do? Run. That's right. They
Mike
just roll the ball
really
out, let
is
him play,
just
man.
Coach Carter, low key.
I think that was the movie
because he
based on
always
him.
has players getting suspended, facing disciplinary action, and they got good grades.
Yep.
Mike Anderson is Coach Carter.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I mean, Channing Tatum is Dusty Hannah's. I mean, yeah, it's just all there. That's what it's all based on. It's all the characters based on all those guys.
Anton Beardus Cruz.
Yes. Oh man!
All
right, we're gonna get in trouble here. All right. Let's get to your chats, folks. Shout out to our guy Hazelwood. It says crab cakes and basketball. LFG boys.
Yeah, I'm coming up here. I was thinking, okay, probably some like the northeastern style seafood, like that crab cake kind of vibe, which I definitely want to get into. But man, we were texting about it last night. So many of the recommendations we got is Italian.
A lot of them.
Like Federal Hill over here, and just like all the Italian joints. So maybe they got some good pizza.
You know what John Rothstein says? Pizza not consumed on the Eastern time zone. It's wasted calories.
He says that?
Something.
Yeah, he says something about he's like never had pizza outside of the Eastern time zone.
Oh,
and
John Rothstein says
we are in the Eastern time zone.
Yes, very much so. Very much on the Eastern time zone. Our guy David, appreciate you, man. He says, if this team makes the Sweet 16 or farther, is it more of a big deal than when Muss's teams did it? That is a great question.
Wow.
I will say, yes.
Okay.
It is. And here's my reasoning as to why. Because we saw that team that Arkansas had with Muss where they didn't have Nick Smith all the time. Brazil was out. And it kind of just felt like it was always like the leaning on, hey, that was the problem. That was the issue. But this year's team, even with those injuries, still continue to get better and better and better and better. And they're still playing their best basketball right now. And it would just be more impressive because of the lack of players you had. You still had injuries on both, but like you had nobody on this one as far as depth to take over. And also doing it where the odds are against you, you're a much lower seed. I guess not much lower, but still, I don't know. I just feel like it would be more impressive if they did it this year which was impressive too when they did it with Muss and Kansas and all that. But I still think it'd be more impressive.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, man, because whether the sentiment makes sense or not, John Calipari was brought here to take this program to a level above where Eric Musselman took it. Sweet 16 would not be that. But if he did it in year one with this team, you could really, really sell that vision moving forward. Like, oh no, he's not washed. He's still the guy that could do that. We brought him in here for a reason. We gave him these resources for a reason. And you could still really, really buy into it. So I think I would be on board with that.
So here's where I'm at with this. Muss's teams making the Sweet 16, it kind of meant more because of just the program hadn't been there in so long. I mean, was it since 95? They had been to the Sweet 16?
96.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it felt like a big deal, like as an achievement in and of itself. But I think when you take into account the impact and what it would mean for the program moving forward, I would agree this year would be bigger because one, Cal just has a higher ceiling overall than pretty much any coach in the country. I mean, there's other coaches maybe right now. But like in terms of how high he can take your program, Cal can take it as high as, I mean, he's literally won a national championship. He's had, some of the best teams we've ever seen. And so I think Arkansas making the Elite Eight right now would be a ripple effect that I think we would see on the recruiting trail in terms of just public perception, national headlines. Like Arkansas would rise to a level as a program even higher than they were when Musselman took those teams. And Muss going to the Elite Eight clearly helped him elevate the program to a high level. I think Cal could elevate it to a higher level if he's able to even halfway replicate that. If Cal wins 2 games, Sweet 16, like people would come away from it being like, holy cow. Like Cal's that guy.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
Well, what I'd also love too is that if Arkansas made it to the Sweet 16 this year, they would have the most Sweet 16 appearances of any SEC team in a 5-year stretch, and they did it with 2 different coaches. Nobody else can say that.
And missed the tournament entirely in one of those years.
Yeah, and the other one with COVID. But you're right. But you're true. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but I think that'd just be kind of something cool
Matters
to be
to
like.
me.
Yeah, it matters to me.
That's good stuff.
That's right. We'll get to more of your chats, folks. Again, we're not going to do a full-fledged stream today because, we're going to have a lot. But we'll be back and better than ever tomorrow. We're going to have everything going on. So be sure to tune in for it.
Tomorrow's going to be okay. We need to think about. Can we think about this real quick in real time?
Sure.
Given the schedule that we know for practices and the locker room and everything inside Arkansas Live, before or after?
I feel like we should do after.
Okay.
Personally, and I know timing is everything, consistency, but I feel like we'd be missing out on opportunities.
We're gonna have so much to talk about.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, I was gonna do like a late pot at the Palace to be like, hey, this is everything that we saw today, but we just do that on here.
Yeah, so, I feel like we should just wait because we'd be talking about a lot of the same stuff now that we would tomorrow, and I'd rather have it to where we hear from Cal, see some of the players, and get some of all of that. So basically, folks, we're gonna have another, maybe not as late as this one was, but another afternoon. Cool. Inside Arkansas Live / Pod at the Palace / whatever it is we're doing. We're live streaming. It'll be fine.
I mean, just hit that notification. I mean, I know we do the subscribe, like and subscribe bit a lot, but it's like the you need to be red alert this time of year because it's going to be a weird week. Yeah. There's going to be content coming all over the place. I mean, hell, later tonight when we get done doing whatever we're going to do, I'm going to have some bombastic action recapping the baseball game. So you kind of want to just be on the lookout. This channel is going to get flooded, and you got to be on red alert.
Yeah, you need to have
drop everything and drop what you're doing to make sure you're on time with us.
Cancel your Amber alerts and just subscribe here, and those will be the only alerts that you need.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not going to make jokes. I'm sorry. Let's see a few chats here too. I like the ones that I guess was highlighted because we were late with everything. Cody James like there must be the Ozark Goes internet, but then he follows it up with Appalachian. Is it Appalachian or Appalachian?
Appalachian.
Appalachian, come on.
It's App State.
Appalachian.
The team that beat Michigan that one time.
Y'all see that chick on TikTok? She's like from West Virginia or whatever. She's kind of homely, but she's funny.
Oh, that's
she's like, this is how we do it in Appalachia.
Appalachian.
Like every little thing. Okay.
No, I have to look that up.
I'll find something. I'll share it with everyone. That way I don't sound like an idiot.
Yeah, Gage says Bill Self has never lost in the round of 64. It is due.
Yeah, it's insane.
That is crazy.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, it ends tomorrow, Thursday. Z.A. Thomas, no hot water and heat. Heck nah, LOL.
I'm glad he said that because so many people were like, why don't you guys just sleep in the cold? Why don't you just
like here? It needs some context, folks. Yeah. It was not just I was a little chilly.
It ain't Fayetteville weather.
Yeah, it is. It was literally the thermostat in the house could not. The lowest it could go was 55 degrees, and it was when I tested it at 48 degrees. And that was with the sunshine and everything being and the windows wide open going in. So,
it's going to,
up yours if you think we should have done that.
20 degrees colder than that tonight. And like, could we do it? Yeah, sure. But do we want to? And should we have to? No.
It's like for the money we're paying.
We're not going to go spend our money on space heaters for this
that's
out
another
Airbnb.
Thing, yeah.
Like,
just get some space heaters. Tell your mama to get some space heaters. Like, we're not going to get space heaters. We shouldn't have to.
No hot water's tough too. Literally, my hands went numb when I was trying to wash my hands.
Yeah, we ain't doing that nonsense. So, Grant says over under on John's luggage making it to Providence. Hopefully, you got those handy dandy air tags this time. And my luggage did arrive, and I did have the air tags.
Shout out to Delta for their communication.
They're on top of it.
They let you know every time your bag goes anywhere other than where it currently was.
Yes. Delta might be the GOAT airline.
Free Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
too?
That's crazy.
After that bumpy ride, though, they're low on my list now. I wasn't a fan of that. Let's see. Jane was just asking, "Are you in the house after all?" No, it's a different house. Different house. Yeah.
Better situation. No piano.
That's right. Yeah, we'll may find a keyboard around here somewhere. Let's see. Brian says, do y'all all get paid more per view on YouTube or Twitter? What's your preferred way we watch? Well, watch whatever way you want to watch. YouTube, we just have a YouTube partnership with them where we get monetization for ads and super chats and everything. But if you prefer Twitter, watch on Twitter. If you prefer YouTube,
we stream on all of them. So
you want to do it on Instagram, which we never see comments for that. And everyone's like, "Hey, I've mentioned you a comment." I'm like, "Well, one, I can't believe you're watching on Instagram, and two, we don't see comments on Instagram, but Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Whatever's convenient for you.
All that to say, YouTube. Yeah. I mean, if he's asking what's our preferred way, probably YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's the most consistent and it's the better quality. We will say that. I was going to bring this up too, but I guess speaking of West Virginia, looks like at least I saw the report that they said he's the leader, or at least the leading candidate now. Is it DeVries or DeVries? How do you say his name?
I think it's DeVries.
DeVries, okay. So might be going to Indiana.
But it sounds like it's done
now
at this point. But I mean, you screw him over at West Virginia, and he's like, "Listen, the attorney general or the governor might be suing the NCAA. I'm just getting the hell out of here.
Here's my question:
I gotta go."
Indiana basketball, they didn't want to maybe look around a little bit, not that that's not a bad hire. I think he's a good coach, but I feel like Indiana should make some really famous people say no before.
Well, they did. Well,
I know they did a little bit.
They were very unrealistic. They do the same thing. It's like,
Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens. Oh, Billy Donovan. Yeah. None of that's ever going to happen. And then they get to realistic
Chris
candidates.
Beard. You didn't want to let Chris Beard finish the tournament and then make a run.
Their administration didn't want his baggage. He would have taken the job in a heartbeat.
I hate winning.
Crazy, bro.
Will Wade? Nah. I guess if you don't want Chris Beard's baggage, you can't have Will Wade paying players.
Yeah,
that's true. That's too much to overcome.
Baggage.
Shout out to our guy Kingsley. Appreciate the super chase. I thought I was going to have to miss the show, but my van quit on me in Sweetwater, Texas. What a better way to soothe the nerves than with the Inside Arkansas pod, though. Well, sorry to hear that for you, man. That sucks.
I think I saw a follow-up chat recently here where he said he's all good, though.
I saw the follow-up and didn't see the initial, and I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, safe and all good. Just waiting on a replacement van to get here. Interesting first couple of weeks it's been. Glad that y'all got in safely, too. Well, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
and
thanks, man.
I'm glad you got some wheels coming your way for sure.
So I guess he's doing it. He's at his new job.
Yeah. Also, Vids for me says, just watch the Vice video for the USC and Vandy game. I really like to see that John Curtis and TV get a ton of love in that episode.
I wish I could watch.
Is that the latest one, or is that the one? No, it can't be the latest.
I think that was last week's.
Yeah, because tonight it's actually is the season finale. It didn't come on last night. I found out the final episode. So,
well, since we're here and you,
we might have to.
Maybe I could go back.
We got to binge watch a little Razor's Edge. But it's been an awesome doc, though, and I'm looking forward to seeing what tonight will hold.
I wonder what the love was. I hope if it was me, I hope it was me giving love to TB after those big games. But I don't know. Very interesting.
You just got to watch it to when you announce the Do Thero injury. That's just like dun, 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 just like the epic dramatic music.
I hope they felt bad about the way they portrayed me there. And
they should have.
Let me pick everybody up.
They should have. Story Writer says, greetings from Croatia.
Awesome. Very cool.
Will Zvonimir play? I know he had a problem with his finger.
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing.
Big Z will play. And they've been putting out some practice clips of him. Hard to tell. I think he still maybe has, I think it was a thumb that he still got wrapped up. As much as my eyes are going to be on Boogie Flan tomorrow in the open practice that we get to watch, really going to be paying a lot of attention to Big Z as well. How does he receive passes? Receive the catch and shoot? Can he secure? Well, sometimes he struggles securing defensive rebounds anyway, but he was really trying to grab him one-handed and stuff. You could just tell it was really bothering him in the SEC tournament. And that's why, even despite his struggles, he would have played more if that thumb was healthy. But yeah, he's going to play, and hopefully he's feeling better because he could be a real X factor type of weapon for Arkansas against Hunter Dickinson. Drag that big boy out of the paint and let Z stroke some threes on him.
Isn't it weird that I feel like Arkansas and Kansas didn't play basketball forever, and now I feel like they play pretty much every year. Yeah,
best friends.
Yeah, that's true.
They might play an actual regular season game next year. So
let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Whitty says, appreciate you. He says they better win. My daughter started winning off Saturday in Little Rock, won first place. Congrats, Arkansas state champion. So betting on all the Hogs. F Kansas.
Great way to end that heartwarming fatherly.
Yeah. Love my daughter and what she did. F Kansas.
Hell yeah, brother. Woo big.
That's the right mentality to have. That's the right mentality.
Very cool.
That chat kind of sums up Whitty, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. But I tell you what, we'll also we'll do some other things here too. I think there was another chat real quick I wanted to get to that was highlighted. Let's see. Because we appreciate everybody checking in with us and all that. Oh, yeah. The Grant Patrick says, if Arkansas gets to the Sweet 16, Andrew needs to cut that mane.
Why?
I agree. I think it's gotta go.
It's time.
Why? Well, like if my hair gets Arkansas to the Sweet 16, I was actually thinking about this on the way to your house this morning. I was thinking if Arkansas gets bounced in the first or like in the regional again, I really do think I might have to cut my hair. And I think by the time it like gets closer to that time, I'm going to start ramping that up. I will cut my hair. I kind of pump faked it last year a few times.
Yeah.
If they get bounced in the regional again, the hair's gone. I'm going back to. I'm just going to be buzzed up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wow. Like just all the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the widow's peak rocking and everything. I don't care. I'm gonna be a completely different personality if Arkansas baseball gets bounced in the regional.
Well, let's go ahead and before we wrap up here, going to get into what to watch, presented by Bryant Technologies, is dedicated to delivering high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions. They take pride in their exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping your business operations seamlessly connected and secure. Whether it's structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, or TV mounting, Bryant Technologies has you covered. They service the entire state of Arkansas as well as the bordering states, so you can have them help you with all of your network and security needs. Give them a call today at 870-883-0330, or you can check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com with that S in between, bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. So what are we going to be watching for when it comes to press conference and practice and all that stuff for Arkansas? Is it just going to be straight boogie? That's it? We got to see what he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like that's definitely what I'm going to be watching closely. And same thing with Big Z, and checking out the Kansas, their team and everything. But the theme of tomorrow morning's Pot at the Palace, just kind of previewing what I'm going to be paying attention to out there. It's Vibe Day. It's Vibe Day, man. Like, who's got the juice? Who's got the energy? What does the chemistry look like out there? Who's loose? Who's locked in? Do we see any lemon booty going on? Because I'll just never forget. And you get a sense of this every year. But 2 years ago in Des Moines, I will never forget being sold that Arkansas was going to do some damage after that day before practice day. Yeah. Just seeing Illinois' body language, talking to some other beat writers, being around their locker room. And it's just like, something ain't right here, man. Something stinky. And it turned out that it was. And I don't get that vibe at all from Arkansas right now. I think they're trending in the right direction. I wonder about Kansas after everything that's gone on this year. So I'm really, really going to be on vibe check tomorrow while we're in there.
Yeah, I felt like Kansas, like while you were saying that, I was kind of thinking, I was like, Kansas kind of checks all the boxes of a team that might have some shaky vibes. And I don't think Bill Self really likes I don't think he really loves his team the way that Cal loves his team. And these are things that we kind of make up in our brain a little bit. Like, who knows how much, these coaches show it. But every press conference clip I see of Bill Self, he's not happy. He's not talking, there's not all these cool clips of him. Of the Kansas teams he's had, I don't think this is one that he's super thrilled with. Whereas, Cal and Arkansas, I think there might be a little bit more sense of urgency on that side, just from a program that's kind of in this journey for the first time together. And so I think Arkansas should feel better about themselves, and I hope it's apparent tomorrow when we're on the court. I got to be honest, selfishly, I want Cal to and I mean, the Arkansas is going to practice. I want to do Thero, maybe show us a few things. Just do a little something. I also want Cal to just even if he's talking out of his ass, just get up there and be like, I tell you, dude, he got a little extra bounce these last couple days. He's bouncing around now. I don't know, man. He slept good on the plane. I want him to really play it up like a Duke Thero might just make an appearance.
Love it.
I would be all for that, actually. And
just plant the seed. Just make them think about it.
Make our show and our content great when we can just say, oh, this is what Cal said. It's like, I haven't seen him play in how long? How many games has it been? 8? It's been 8 games. He's ready. He's rested. Could happen for him. So, but yeah, I'm going to be curious to see that. Just how the vibes are, how the bounce is, seeing where they're at. I mean, the last time we saw the Razorbacks, they lost on that buzzer beater to Ole Miss, and so how are they going to bounce back? Has Boogie been that energy? That's really. I'm not saying they wouldn't have it anyways, but has he been? Hey, we got this guy back, and this guy we really liked, and he was dishing it out and helping out the team. Is that going to be a little bit more? And maybe there is the Adu Thero thing in the background where everyone's like, hey, man, we just get through this. If we just do this weekend, hey, we could do something with it. So, yeah, it'll be fun to see. And, again, we'll have all the rigorous practice highlights on our Inside Arkansas YouTube page showing how all it's going to be going down. So, but, yeah, we really appreciate that. Also, Mark is over here, says a new drive at home segment coming soon. Mark, I received your email. Don't worry, and we will be talking. But yeah, we appreciate you and your support for us here at Inside Arkansas. Also, another thing I'm going to be watching is what I'm going to eat tonight, because I don't think we have not eaten at all. I think Ellis has had a few of those cookies on the airplane. I had a granola bar.
I had a cookie.
You had a cookie.
Plane, yeah.
That's it. That is all I've eaten. Man. That's all I've eaten. And I might throw up tonight because I eat so much, and it's going to be so great.
Some chip and dip immediately.
Dude, I can't wait, and I just can't wait to hear somebody yelling at me in a Boston accent. But hey, where you guys from? And just like maybe I get in a fight. I don't know. Tonight could get weird because it's been a day. It's going to be a night. I'm hangry. We're in a place I've never been. Don't know what the vibes are going to be like. It's going to be great.
Arkansas. What's going on in Arkansas?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's just going to be a bunch of Pat Bradleys running around here, like, hey, Arkansas. You know, do we make the jokes that they always get of being like, what was the movie that just the one with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck?
The Town.
Goodwill
Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting, yeah. When he's just, how about them apples? You know, are we just going to make those jokes at them and get them all pissed up? Yeah.
Wicked smart.
Yeah, wicked smart. So we're going to be those types of people. I'll keep wondering if someone's going to ask us, be like, well, you guys have these accents, which I don't think we have so many ridiculous accents, but for them, I'm sure it's going to sound weird for us being around. But
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that way. Everyone says no fighting.
No fighting, John.
Yeah, I'm a fight. I'm a big fighter. All right. Well, hey, again, I know it's been unorthodox. We appreciate everyone's patience with us too, because I know we definitely were wanting to do a show earlier and everything happened, but we are now locked in the rest of the time. Again, tomorrow, Inside Arkansas Live, and I'll be sure to tweet it out and everything too. It's going to be a little bit later because we have practices and we get to hear from Cal, so we'll have all the latest on that. And then on Thursday and Friday, if anyone's making the trip up here, we're going to be live from Snookers over here in Providence, doing Inside Arkansas Live at noon Central Time, but 1 p.m. Eastern Time here. So if you're going to be making the trip, come on out and hang out with us. And we'll talk. But I feel like Saturday we're going to probably end up doing something too. You know,
we're going to be here.
Yeah. Might as well be doing something while we're doing nothing.
Right. You know? Whether Arkansas is playing or not, we're going to be here.
Yeah.
It might just Saturday and Sunday. Hell, if they lose Thursday, we're going to be here Friday and Saturday. Like we'll definitely do something.
Yeah. We'll maybe do like we did in Lexington. Just go to like a coffee shop and sit there and talk. So we may do that too. Yeah. But again, we appreciate all of you locking in with us. It's going to be a great week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Check out all of our podcasts wherever podcasts are found. You can also get after us on social media at Inside Arkansas, and check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorback. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon for Inside Arkansas Live. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you then.